Toronto to drive this Healey 100, and what a beautiful car it is. It's a 53. Now, in the fall of 52 at the London Auto Show, Donald Healey went about selling his new car. He was using a bunch of Austin parts already. He was using the motor, suspension, the drivetrain. Well, by the third day, the car became so popular, he already had 3 years' worth of production in orders. He realized he wasn't going to be able to build these by himself. So along comes Leonard Lord from Austin and says, why don't we join forces and build this car together? And that's exactly what you have here, the beginning of Austin Healey. Now, there were 19 of these pre-production cars built. This is number 14. All 19 cars were hand-built in aluminum at the Warwick plant. The 19 cars were used for racing, for the auto shows, and for first placements. Let's take this thing for a spin, and I'll give you my impression on how these things drive. As you pull out, you realize that these cars were not big horsepower cars. They were not, the muscle car. But what they are is they're a really fun car to drive. 2.66 liter of motor, making about 90 horsepower stock. Now this car here, it was raced in the 60s and it was restored to that sort of era. So it actually makes about 125 horsepower. It's got the 1 3/4 SUs on it. A little bit bigger carb again, making a little bit more drive out of the corners. Suspension-wise, he's updated it again to the way it raced in the 60s. He's got disc brakes on the front. He's got the drums on the back. Very nice, sort of nimble-feeling car. The transmission is kind of unique. On the early production cars, they had a 3-speed with an overdrive that was 32% overdriven. So when you get up to speed, you just hit the switch on the dash, and all of a sudden you feel it kick down, gives you that much more speed on the top end without over-revving the motor. The other thing you'll notice about this car is obviously the race equipment. This car was extensively raced in the 60s. It's got the roll bar, it's got the small windscreen, it's got the buckle, it's got the Dunlop race tires. Again, makes it that much nicer to drive for daily sort of driving or taking it out to an event. When you get up into the corners, you almost feel like you become part of this car. The car doesn't roll very much. The car feels very, very nimble, and it should. It's only a 2,000-pound car with 120 pounds worth of fuel. Very, very light car. All in all, if you ever get a chance to drive one of these cars, you're really going to enjoy the feeling, because like most British cars, you feel like you become part of the car. The car kind of wraps around you, and you feel every movement that the car makes in the corners during braking, during acceleration. The car really is a fun little car to drive. Now, the quality of this restoration is second to none. Blair Harbour spent a lot of time researching the car, and he restored the car not the way it left the factory, but the way it raced in 1966. The aluminum body has really been shown off here. They didn't repaint the car. He took the loss in points when the car got judged, but it's a beautiful tribute to the body and the coachwork on this car. It is just beautiful. It's straight. It's in bare aluminum, just with the stripe on it. The rest of this restoration is exactly the same, a complete ground-up restoration. Undercarriage, beautifully detailed. All the suspension painted apart, put together, very nicely detailed. Same with under the hood. Every component's been detailed. The upholstery on this car, beautiful again. They spent a lot of hours on the dash. I see the dash itself has been sanded and polished. The attention to detail on the suspension, exhaust system, the chrome, all the plating's been done, makes this car a very valuable car. Along with the fact that it is one of the 19 original pre-production cars, a car like this has to be worth about $75,000.